So, Mass Effect 2. So, it's been a while since I've really even talked about this game, so let's of course cover the loyalty missions in Mass Effect 2. Now, this isn't going in any particular order, just basically whoever I feel like talking about. So, starting off with the first few squad mates, we of course have Jacob, and so I guess how interesting is his loyalty mission? Well, Jacob's basically looking for his dad, who was believed to be dead, only to find out that his dad sort of kind of lied and kind of screwed over a lot of people, and that's kind of the whole point of his loyalty mission. It's a bit of a heartbreaking one because knowing that instead of thinking his dad kind of just died as a hero, he kind of just realizes that his dad kind of is just kind of a crappy person. Next step is Miranda. Her loyalty mission is just basically looking for her sister, making sure she stays protected, and that's really it. It definitely does show another layer of Miranda, but it's arguably one of the more boring loyalty missions in the game, as it's not really. I don't know. I just guess I'm moving on. Next up, we of course have Garrus. Garrus' loyalty mission is arguably one of the best in the game. So Garrus is looking for a guy who betrayed him and his old squad. After Shepard died, Garrus pretty much just started his own group and became a mercenary. His group got betrayed, and the guy who betrayed them, Garrus basically wants him dead. You can of course save him, but honestly, I just kind of like Garrus just have this one. He kind of deserves it. So next up, we of course have Jack's loyalty mission. She wants to destroy this place on a planet where she was kind of held captive years back, and it's honestly one of the more heartbreaking loyalty missions. It kind of shows just kind of the person that Jack would kind of become, which is unfortunate because we see how she turns out to be Mass Effect 3, and we kind of see quite a bit of a change in her. Like, maybe if she just had the right people around, she wouldn't have turned out like that. Next up, we of course have Grunt's ultimate mission. His mission is basically just kill a ton of stuff so he can go through Krogan puberty. That's really it. Next up, we of course have Kasumi's, which is pretty much getting this one thing back that, if I recall correctly, belonged to like the dead ex of hers. It's a decent loyalty mission, not anything too special, but nonetheless, kind of interesting. Zaid's is next, and of course, Zaid basically wants revenge on this guy who betrayed him, and we learn a bit about who started the Blue Suns, which is kind of cool. Not the best ultimate mission, but still a fun one. Interesting endings that you can get. So next up, we of course have Tali's ultimate mission. Her ultimate mission is pretty much trying to prove her innocence and convince the Queen that she did not bring gas onto the flotilla. This one has a few endings, all of which are pretty interesting, and I think that's really the only interesting thing about a loyalty mission. Next up, we of course have Thane's. Thane basically wants to prevent his son from killing this one guy and kind of right his wrongs as a father. It's actually pretty good. Flushes out Thane quite a bit, and is probably one of my favorite loyalty missions. Samara's is next, and that one you're pretty much trying to lure her daughter out so Samara could kill her. This one has a really interesting ending because you can actually betray Samara and get Mordant on your team, which is honestly really just kind of shocking. Next up is, of course, Mordant. Mordant basically wants to find an apprentice of his who he believes I think got kidnapped or something, only to find out that he's trying to get a genophage. It has really interesting outcomes, to be honest, and is a fairly interesting loyalty mission. That's all I really have to say about that one. And next up, we of course have Legions. Legion's loyalty mission, I think, is really just one of the only required ones to do. Not bad. You're pretty much rewriting the death, and that's kind of it. So, I guess, how interesting was Mass Effect's 2 loyalty missions? Well, they were pretty interesting. They add quite a lot to the game, and personally are worth doing. I really wish that they had a few of these in Mass Effect 3, but honestly, I kind of don't blame them for not bringing them back, because well, they were something that made Mass Effect 2 special and fleshed out a lot of the characters a lot more. Technically, Mass Effect 1 did have them, kinda. I mean, it had personal missions for some of the characters, like uh, Garrus, Rex, and Tali had one, but those are a bit different. I mean, didn't really depend on their survival in the game. But I thought it was an interesting addition in the first one, and I liked that they, I guess, did something a bit similar like this with Mass Effect 2. But that's all I have for today, so thank you all for watching, and I will, of course, see you all next time with a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare review. So stay tuned for that.